Oh, that you would rend the heavens and come down, that the mountains might shake at your presence as when fire burns brushwood and causes water to boil. Make your name known again among your adversaries, that the nations may tremble at your presence. For before, when you did awesome things for which we did not look, you came down. The mountains shook. Since the beginning of the world, no one has seen, no one has heard any God besides you who acts for those who love him. This is the word of the Lord, and this is Advent. Welcome, friends, to another year of putting a fresh edge on our desire that Jesus would return. We are operating in a moment of profound despair. Whenever a regime fails to save humanity, there is a great risk for the people of that regime. And the risk is absolute resignation. In a time like that one, the gospel of Jesus is more important than ever. And Advent in particular is vital. The Catechism of the Catholic Church says that when the Church celebrates the liturgy of Advent each year, she makes present the ancient expectancy of the Messiah. For by participating in the long anticipation of the Messiah's first coming, we prepare ourselves for his second coming. And the theologian Karl Barth similarly said that past and future coming are related like dawn and sunrise. That it is precisely in the light of Christ's first coming that all faith has become Advent faith. This is vital. The theologian Walter Bruggeman said that our age is organized against history. There is a deprecation of memory and a ridicule of hope. And what that means is that everything must be held in the now. Either an urgent now is the time to act, or an eternal now is the time to be present. This is all there is. And in a context like that one, a community rooted in energizing memories of the past and driven towards a hopeful future is at best a curiosity, but more likely a threat. We have to be a community like that one. And Bruggeman lays out three ways that we get there. We need three things. One, we need a sense of memory. We need our roots to go down deep into a real history that is kept alive, he says, in story and song. Are you doing that now? Two, we need a sense of pain that we share and acknowledge as a real social fact. That pain is perceived to be unbearable in the long term. For the people of God, that is the pain of the bodily absence of Jesus, which some writers call lovesickness. The kingdom is in some places, but it is not everywhere. The knowledge of God does not cover the earth like the waters cover the sea. That hurts, and by leaning into that ache, we become an Advent people. And three, we need a real sense of unfulfilled promises, promises that sit in judgment upon the present. And for us, those are the promises of the return of Christ, the resurrection of the dead, the restoration of all things, co-creating with God into eternity. Advent is organized to do those three things for us. It is organized to send our roots deep into history. It is organized to whet our thirst for Jesus to be present. So we're going to share a couple things together. We are going to remember our story. We are going to share our history, and we are going to look forward to Christ coming again in view of the fact that he came. He came. And we know that he will come again because he said that he did, and these things are trustworthy and true. So let's start together by remembering our history. Listen. In the beginning, God played. The Father loved the Son loved the Father, and leaping forth between them, there sprang the Spirit. These laid the foundation stones of the world. Christ came and will come again. You were born into an enchanted world. Even the Vikinger saw the Husel folk, the hidden peoples, haunt the border of their stories, and all kingdoms remember a dragon who in uncounted time struggled to unmake the world, but your God is stronger than he is. Christ came and will come again. Our God wanted you. From the abundance of his love, he sowed the universe. He structured the world. He filled it with life. You exist because it is his pleasure that you would. Christ came and will come again. Our God has never stopped loving you. Not when the snake rebelled, not when Adam and Eve took the fruit, not when the rebel spirits came down, or when earthly empires tried in vain to make God their slave. He never turned his face away. Christ came and will come again. You have a family. A wandering Aramean is your father. The prophetess Sarah is your mother. These two risked everything on the chance God loved them, and he did not fail. Isaac is your ancestor. He perceived the marriage of heaven and earth, and on a stone laid a name. God is here. Jacob comes before you. I am a deceiver, he said, and yet God seized him in a mighty embrace. Christ came and will come again. Our God faced off with Egypt. Their gods were fell and terrible, and yet our God is greater than they are. He took a nation from out of a nation and spoke to them from the midst of the fire. Since the beginning of time, there have been no actions like these. Our God is a great God. Christ came and will come again. Our God loves. Tamar is your mother. Rahab is your mother. Ruth is your mother, and the hall of your fathers overflows. Hezekiah is there, Josiah is there, and the prophets who perceived a future no living person could recall are there. Isaiah, Jeremiah, Huldah, and the prophetess. These saw a branch leaf out on the ruined tree of Israel and heard a voice call in the desert, prepare the way of the Lord. Christ came, he will come again. His name is salvation. He was born of a virgin in the city of David. He baffled the scribes. And when John baptized him, heaven broke open and the Father spoke, "This is my Son, the beloved. Listen to him. Christ came and will come again." He overcame the tempter. He purified humanity. He is, beyond all expectation, a man of mercy. He ate with the fraud and befriended the liar. He has power even over the wind and waves. He transfigured before the apostles and raised the dead. Christ came, he will come again. He initiated the great Passover. We feast on his body and are covered by his blood. For our sake, he suffered under Pontius Pilate, was crucified, died, and was buried. On the third day, he rose again. Christ came and will come again. He ascended into heaven. He is seated at the right hand of the Father. He will come again in glory to judge the living and the dead, and to the increase of his kingdom there will be no end. Christ came and will come again. This is our story, friends. This is the history into which our roots go. This is what we celebrate when we participate in Advent each year. Over the next several weeks, we'll be releasing stories that relate directly to the progression of Advent, to the patriarchs and the anticipation of Christ's coming, to John the forerunner, to the Sunday of joy and the Magnificat, to the birth of Christ itself. Now, let me encourage you. This is a time to be purified from cynicism, to be rescued from despair, to let the hope of a real future saturate our bodies. One day, Jesus will wipe away every tear. Death and dying will be no more. He will come back for his bride. We will see him. We will feast. And it is into that future that we are headed, and to that future that we are prophesying now, in a dark time, that we say, nevertheless, we will celebrate because Christ came and we know he will come again.